Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ed DeVeaux, President of the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. Just wanted to welcome everyone once again to our Lunch and Learn, our weekly series where you hear from the best and brightest in the cannabis industry about those matters that matter to us all. So just before we begin, I do want to let everyone know where I am today. It's become kind of this neat feature of the Lunch and Learn, where I get to do the Lunch and Learn from different locations in the state. And today, I am thrilled, I am honored to be in the great town of Somerville. I'm in Somerville at the 2019 Best Bar in the State. This is Verve. This is Verve on Main Street in Somerville. I'm going to give a shout out to my college classmate and friend of 30 plus years, Rick St. Pierre, the proprietor of Verve. So if you are ever in Central Jersey in the Bridgewater, Somerville area, please do stop into Verve. Great food, great beverages. Some of the best bartenders in the country are here. So do stop into Verve. Tell them Ed DeVeaux sent you. I'd like to thank this afternoon's sponsors. These are sponsors of most of our Lunch and Learns, so do feel free to check them out. Our sponsors are Burton Trent Public Affairs, the law firm of Inglesino, Webster, Wyciskala, and Taylor, Curaleaf, Puffin Entrepreneurs and Investors, HBK, our CPAs, Argus 365 Security, Eaze, UFCW, Hugh Giordano and UFCW, and Garden State Greenhouse. Once again, I just want to welcome everyone to this afternoon lunch and learn. And I do want to say, this young lady, we are colleagues, we're peers, we're friends. And I think this afternoon's conversation is really going to benefit those that are looking to apply for licenses, as Alixon Collazos is an expert in this field. And I love working with her. So from the BGill Group, I want to welcome Alixon Collazos. Hi, Alixon.
Hi, good afternoon, Ed. Thank you for having us. I'm good, thank you. Busy, but very good.
Great. Well, look, you guys are fantastic. Your work has been fantastic in this space. So we'll just jump right into the conversation. Oftentimes when firms, individuals are looking to get involved in the cannabis space, the first thing we look for is that municipal kind of approval, right? You got to get municipal approval, you need site control, and then probably even more challenging than that governmental approval is approval from the community. And that's something that I know you have dealt with in some pretty tense situations. So first, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us some more. I know your bio was on our flyer, but please do share your experiences, where you are, and then share some of those community engagement issues that people either have faced or are bound to face.
So thank you again for the invitation to come on. So I'm with the BGill Group. We do government, political consultant, and public affairs work for a variety of industries, from healthcare, transportation, education, and most recently in the last, I think 4 years now, it's been cannabis. So this is a recent industry into the kind of work that we do, but working in all the other industries helps, of course, what we do. So that's one thing. We have been working in all aspects of the cannabis. And again, we've been learning as this progresses. So in terms of what we've been specializing in the last 2 years, especially after the 2018 applications were approved, is that local approval, that local government affairs in process more than the state one, because even after getting the license, people thought that was, and it is a big win, of course, But then we found out that there were so many other issues that we needed to, that it was not as easy to get operational as you would imagine with a license at hand and with funding at hand and with professionals at hand, that we found out that there was a lot of other items that became an issue or became complicated. And that's when we came in, and that's where we have been truly proud of the work that we have done successfully in many different ways, even if the final outcome was not exactly what, let's say, our client want, but at the end of it, it has opened up that conversation in many other places. So it's been, great 3 years doing that very specific local work. So that's what we've done, and that's what I have been specialized. Basically, I've been on the ground working with those municipalities in different, and yes, to your point, challenging places. The first thing we did in terms of like how to approach them has been, the education. Being completely honest with those municipalities has been one of the biggest, things that we've done. But being respectful, understanding what those communities are coming from, and approaching them again, knowing their background, knowing their kinds of political and constituent, issues that they have coming into this sphere. So that's what we specialize in the last few years. And again, as more companies are trying to become operational, they've approached us to even come in after licensing. Like, listen, we thought this was going to be the issue. Now that we have 10 more issues. And that's been our local government affair has been truly what has taken the most amount of time from us, not necessarily the state, because the state has other issues that they need to work out, which is fine. I mean, it is an amazing industry, so they should put in the time required to make sure that it's done properly. So understanding on that end, but then also local municipalities have a job and they have a timeline to go ahead and do this.
Right. That's right. And one of the areas that we look at when we talk about people either starting in New Jersey or coming to New Jersey, people that are outside of New Jersey. New Jersey's a special place, right? Like I use the phrase, in New Jersey, politics is a contact sport. So we get it. And it even happens at the local level. With local governments, it happens with community-based organizations or not-for-profits. So share some guidance for those people who are not from Jersey, who are thinking about coming here. Look, I love Jersey. I want you here. It's good for the industry. It's good for the economy. But there are challenges.
Yeah, I love Jersey. I mean, I am a New Jersey person. I love it. And I love working in these communities. And I love specifically working with the, in the communities that I have. So my first thing with those, out of state is do come in, but first of all, make sure that you communicate with someone that is from New Jersey and truly do your homework that company, that person, that contact really does understand New Jersey and how complex it is. Not all urban communities are the same, nor that they have the same issues, the same constituency, the same interests. So we have same thing with the suburbs. I mean, we have a relatively small, it is a small state, but we're very complex. One community next to the other one are completely different. Their needs are very different. And so we need to be mindful of those and not approach any of those because you did some work in Colorado in a municipality that looked exactly like this one in New Jersey that you're going to easily convert this. It is not. And I've heard that conversation in the past that we did this in so-and-so place and it looks exactly like this one. We should be able to communicate with them. Yes, probably you should, but it's not going to. So those shoulds and what is really the big item that I try to explain to our clients that, yes, what it should happen is not necessarily what it's going to happen. And you have to be open to that conversation as well, because as experts, and then you are in a lot of those out-of-state companies, they are experts on cannabis and they run some amazing locations in other places and have done a lot of work in a lot of, so it's not that, New Jersey is about people. This industry is about the people, and it is about how you treat them and how you come in. So you can be an expert operator, but if you don't understand the people that you want to do business with or business for, you're already started in the wrong foot. So take the time to understand those communities. And yes, the benefits, yes, you're an expert, but also understand that this is relatively new for New Jersey. So a little bit of compassion and understanding our elected officials who are in the front. I mean, we understand politics. They really are. They're trying to do the very best they can for their constituents. And sometimes they don't know, as much, and they need to educate themselves as their constituents are. So a little bit of compassion and understanding will go a long way, and they will be in those elected officials, government regions, communities can understand that and will feel that. So that's my biggest thing. Just take your time, please.
That's right. And it's something else that comes up in our conversations. And I know you've had this conversation, and I just want to get your sense of it, and please share with our guests. When you're in this process, and no state is different, because I've done Illinois, I've done West Virginia, I get it. Just the fact that people question, why do I need consultants? Why do I have to get a consultant? It's overhead that I really don't want to use because I'm trying to get money for my capital improvements, my physical plant. Why do I need consultants? Why do I need these people? So just if you could share just your thoughts on that, because coming from me, it may seem a little bit self-serving. So coming from you, why consultants?
I understand that question. I mean, if I were them, I would ask the same question. Why do I need you to talk to the mayor, or read the resolution? Well, the reason why you need consultants and people who understand the landscape of New Jersey is not just the political landscape, because that's one thing, but also understanding those constituencies. We can speak to the mayor of so-and-so who's completely pro-cannabis, but I also can tell you their constituent is very different than what the mayor is. And the mayor, so yes, the mayor is, but he's probably not going to have all the support that we need for this project. So you need us so we can explain to you sometimes the historical context of these municipalities and even the communities themselves, the divisions that exist within them, but also the ways that it has, where we know that it's a good message. And so that's the reason why, yes, getting to know people is complicated. On a one-on-one, getting to know communities is a much harder task. So you don't have to, but it would make your investment will go a lot further, because otherwise you're spending a lot of time, energy, and money, and you're right. But you don't really know where you're getting yourself into, in which community, and what the issues are, and what the possible solutions are. And so, and this goes to what it should be and what it is. Yes, this community, because it has these kinds of demographics, numbers, whatever it is that we're looking at, should be amicable to what I want to do. And it should be on paper. But again, what the shoulds and what it is are not always in the same, and this is in many different things, but especially in this kinds of industry, because we're speaking about people, and we're speaking about concerns and a lack of education from a lot of people, and a lot of fear, and so taking that into consideration is very important.
You're absolutely right, and thank you for sharing that. There's also this notion, and I think we both have had this experience, where somebody thinks money will solve everything, right? If I go to this community-based organization, this 501c3, look, my money will talk for me, right? God forbid they should say my money will talk to a politician. When that happens, you just walk away. It's like I don't know you, right? But there are those who think that money will solve everything. I think you and I have had this experience. I mean, we talk about hiring consultants. we talk about joining the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association, right, to help with those relationships and those issues. But what happens when you have a client who says, that's okay, I'll get to it, or just tell me where to write the check? Is that the answer? And help us all kind of understand.
I dislike that when people come up and say that. I personally dislike it because, again, it's usually people from out of state. And this is my community. I live in New Jersey. I understand the good work that these communities and these nonprofit organizations or these are doing. So it is, whether I know him personally or whether I just know how hard it is for nonprofits to do the kind of work that they do, whatever it is. So I take it a little personal, like, let's just really get to know what is it that you are doing, because once you get to know, a check goes, does something, but this is not what we want. And this is what I've told, and I've been successful with my clients. Let's build long-term relationships. These communities, not only the organization that is going to profit from this or is going to be, thankful to you in the short term, but these are going to be your allies in the long term. And also, because we're talking about an industry that is here to stay. And these investments from these companies, it's not a 2-year thing, it's a 10, 20, they're thinking 30-year plan. So you should spend that time in getting to know them and have a legitimate interest in them. Maybe not initially, but then start slowly. Then start dating them right now. You don't have to marry them just yet. But start building those kinds of relationships. And I feel truly that you will go much further slower. Wow. And having that understanding that this is not about what do I need tomorrow, because I'm thinking beyond tomorrow. I'm thinking I'm going to be here 2-3 years from now. Otherwise, if you're thinking of short term, like, okay, I need this application to happen, and that's why I need the support, and how can I? Yes, you may get that. But then once once you get operation, you're going to seriously be part of this community, and you should take it as such and be as responsible as you can.
That's a great answer. I really appreciate your insights. Look, this is right on point for anybody. Again, if you're a guest and you're looking at being an applicant or even being a support service, your ties to the community. I think, Alixon, you and I can't stress enough how important it is. Now, this is a question, and we didn't practice this one, so this is really off the top of my head because it is it's a bit of a pet peeve for me. It has to do with the issue of micro licenses, minority-owned, women-owned, disabled veteran-owned applicants, and possible operations. There's been so much conversation, and the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association actually opposed language in legislation that created opportunities for either investors with an S or an investor, which could be a large company, to come in and invest in minority businesses, minority operations. And I am fearful. And after speaking with our board, and we took the position to oppose the legislation because there were just so many gaps in this permissive language to allow companies to come in, invest in license holders. Not only are they investing on a loan basis, and trust me, I always make sure that everyone knows we're talking about a loan, which means you're gonna have to pay it back with interest. But then the language was allowing for actual equity in the company. So now you have this situation where minority women-owned businesses that we purposely wrote language in the legalization bill to lower the bar to entry so that you could come in, that we could do more at the local level by helping. And then you get this, well, now you get the multi-state operators, and God bless them, because look, Curaleaf is on our board. We've had great conversations with other license holders, and there's no ill will there. But the concept, the notion of protecting local minority women-owned businesses. Any thoughts on how we either improve the relationships, help protect the relationships? To me, it's just one of those issues. It was hard. There were those people that, including people in our state, potential minority applicants who were like, Ed, be quiet. No, they're giving me money. And it's like, no, they're not giving you money. They're loaning you money.
So again, the devil is in the details, because on the one hand, this is a very expensive industry to get in. And I've been thinking about the micro licenses and the idea, and I've said this many times, that we need to create the climate to have a legitimate way legitimate meaning a realistic goal to have these businesses join this industry. But you have to be mindful of it. One, because it does take a lot of capital. So if in minority-owned businesses, Black and Brown communities, especially in the impact zone communities, they don't really have, there's a lot of lacks there. So there's the lack of capital is a real thing. So yes, I do believe that there's a big space for these larger companies to help, because they have not only the capital, which is extremely important and we need it, but in addition to the capital, they have that intellectual knowledge of this new industry that we still don't know, if we've never done it, how to grow, how to manufacture, how to run a dispensary. This is not like running a bakery. It is not. There's compliance issues, there's taxing issues, there are liability issues that no, a bakery will not have this kinds of things, or a clothing store will not have this. So we do need their intellectual experience to help us navigate that, as well as the capital. And they know that. And if we want to be successful, in minority-owned companies want to be successful, not just obtaining the license, but be successful at it with the prospect of growing, because micro licenses can become a full license. That should be the goal. But then we need to make sure that they survive. So there is a room for those larger companies to help in many different ways, and we should definitely take them on that, because they do have tons to offer. On the other hand, I do agree that the details are, the devil is in the details, making sure that the state particularly really sees what those opportunities are for those community, those ventures, those micro licenses, and how are we protecting those micro owners, those owners of those micro licenses? How are we going to do this? We want to make sure the goal should be for them to be owners, majority owners. However way that is going to be drafted, that should be the goal. So however way we get there, and again, details, but that should be the final goal. Whatever we do, we're making sure that they are the owners, and that there is a path for them to have full licenses, if that's the case, and being very clear as to where that ownership from these larger companies stand. We don't want companies to just come and buy the smaller ones. I mean, we don't want a monopoly, and it's not good for anyone. It's not good for them, the big multi-state operators. It is not good for New Jersey. It is not good for the entrepreneurs of New Jersey who want to truly be part of this, and they have so much to offer, and variety on, not just like the actual dispensary of the product, but so many different ways of doing it. The issue is always the example is the microbreweries. So interested, and it is a great business model at this point. So we have the opportunity in New Jersey. But again, it is a state that is going to have to take a really big look at this and truly be mindful of them as well. But we do need the money. Those micro businesses, they do need the money. They need to fund it, but they also need all of the other education that comes with it, or they should come with it.
Right. So ultimately, what we're telling everyone is it's not easy. We're just trying to make it better. We are trying to make the industry more diverse and responsible, not just from a regulatory standpoint, but responsible to communities. Be responsible to communities as well. So as we get ready to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and the last thing I want to say on this issue is that as we approach, and I know social justice, and we keep talking about micro businesses and and pushing that, the one thing that I am telling people to be careful of, the people, I know everybody, is that let's be careful of how much we push, or we push micro licenses, more owners to go ahead and do this, because they can't afford to lose this money as big license, spend this money, invest this money, and may not come to fruition. Like they don't have money to waste. They don't have $150,000, somewhere just, and not miss it if it doesn't go well. So we have to be responsible on that end.
That's great. That's a great addition. So as we prepare for our final thoughts, final comments, I do want to recognize, I saw in the chat feature, I saw Ken Walski. Ken, you've done tremendous work in terms of patient advocacy. Want to welcome you once again. I want to welcome somebody that I've known for years. We've worked together on the political side of things, former county commissioner, attorney Lou Magazoo. Lou wrote a very interesting piece recently on the prospects of expungement. So Lou, thank you for those thoughts as we are working with the State Bar Association and getting ready to move forward, looking at every aspect of what needs to be done to help people out. Also, as a thought, I want to congratulate you, Alixon, and others that are here in the panel for making NJ Insiders top 100 in the Cannabis Insiders list. To Jay Lassiter, Jay is the author of that list. And look, it's not an easy job. I saw on LinkedIn there were a number of people that said, "Hey, and by the way, you should have added this person, right, or that person." And I get it. There was no animosity in those comments, which was really nice to see. But Jay does that list, and I just want to say thanks to Jay, thanks to all of those who are here who made the list. As look, it's all about doing something, right? We all have to do something.
Yeah.
So Alixon, any last thoughts? Oh, and one more thing. As you're in the chat feature, be sure to click on everyone if you want to share to everyone. Sometimes you'll do the click and it just goes to the panelists. So what you want to make sure is that you click everybody so that your information gets shared if you want it that way.
The last thing I wanted to say is that, we should communicate with the CRC. They're trying to do the very best they can right now. And they are doing some really good things, but they want to, my understanding is that they want, and I do believe in the governor and their vision and his vision of making sure this is equitable, that it is profitable, that it's safe, but they may need some impact. So any kind of suggestions, I think I welcome, I would assume and suggest for people to reach out and make their comments. Sometimes they just need a little bit of insight from our outside views. So communicate with the CRC as well, your thoughts.
No, thank you so much for sharing those. As you were talking about the CRC, what I wanted to do was, look, the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association, our members are constantly giving us feedback to share with the CRC. We are in contact with them, trying to help them out. Look, to your point, Alixon, it's not an easy task. They're not only doing regulations, but they're building a department. They're creating an agency. So all of that has to happen. And so you're right. Let's show some patience, and we'll try to help them get there. Lastly, I want to thank our sponsors. That's Burton, Trent Public Affairs, the law firm of Inglesino, Webster, Wyciskala, and Taylor. Curaleaf, who was also a board member. Puffin Entrepreneurs and Investors. HBK CPAs. Argus 365 Security. Eaze, the UFCW, and Hugh Giordano and Garden State Greenhouse. And again, I'm coming to you live from Verve on Main Street in Somerville, 2019 best bar in the state of New Jersey. And since I don't think there was a 2020, so we'll say they are still the reigning best bar in New Jersey. And to my good friend, the proprietor, my friend of over 30 years, and college classmate, Rick St. Pierre. Rick is walking around here somewhere, but just want to thank him. I want to thank everyone for your participation. So as we move forward, we look forward to seeing everyone next week, next Friday at noon. We'll be announcing our guests. Also, we are going to go through July, and then we're going to take off the month of August. We expect a lot to be happening in the month of August, so we're going to be focused on that. So everyone, thank you so much for participating. Look forward to catching up. We'll put the New Jersey Canna Business link in the chat feature. I'll put my email there as well. And really appreciate it. Alixon, again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is great. Thank you.